Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. In 1959, we had the pleasure of seeing a new American crime comedy film that was directed, produced, and co-written by Billy Wilder. That movie was Some Like It Hot. The film stars Marilyn Monroe, Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon, Pat O'Brien, George Raft, Joan Shawley, Joe E. Brown, and Nehemiah Pearsoff. The director Wilder co-wrote the screenplay with I.A.L. Diamond, and it was based on a 1935 French film that was called Fanfare of Love. The project ended up opening to commercial and critical success, and is considered to be probably one of the greatest films of all time. Academy Award nominations were dished out for the project in the category of Best Actor, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay, with it winning in Best Costume Design. It was also one of the first 25 films that the Library of Congress selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry because of its cultural, historic, and its aesthetical significance. The movie's storyline goes that after witnessing a mafia murder, a saxophone player named Joe, played by Tony Curtis, and his buddy Jerry, played by Jack Lemmon, improvise a quick plan that helps them escape from Chicago with their lives. They end up disguising themselves as women, and they join an all-female jazz band, hopping a train bound for sunny Florida. All of this while Joe pretends to be a millionaire to win the band's sexy singer, Sugar, played by Marilyn Monroe, while at the same time Jerry finds himself pursued by a real millionaire, played by Joe E. Brown, as things heat up and the mobsters begin to close in. The movie was produced without the approval of the Motion Picture Production Code, also known as the Hays Code, and that was because it featured cross-dressing in it. That code eventually got weakened, owing this to greater social tolerances of pretty taboo topics in the movies, although it did stay in force until the mid-1960s, when the rating system took over. The unbelievable success of this film is said to be one of the main reasons why the Hays Code was sent into retirement. Marilyn Monroe wanted the film to be shot in color. You see, her contract stipulated that all of her films were to be done in color, but Billy Wilder convinced her to let it be shot in black and white. This was due to the fact that when costume tests were done, they revealed that the makeup that Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon wore gave their faces a somewhat green tinge. When Curtis and Lemmon put on the female makeup and the costumes, they walked around Goldwyn Studios just to see if they could pass as women. They even tried using mirrors in the ladies' public restrooms to fix their makeup. And they decided that when none of the women ever complained, they knew that they had convincingly turned into a woman. The stories they have from the cast and crew about how difficult Marilyn was to work with during the production has grown to almost mythical proportions. As a matter of fact, in the film, where you see the farewell telephone conversation between Monroe and Tony Curtis, it's visible that her eyes are darting back and forth, which clearly reveals that she was reading her lines directly from an off-screen blackboard. Curtis also said that she was routinely 2 to 3 hours late to the set, and occasionally just wouldn't come out of her dressing room at all. But after all of that is said and done, he really enjoyed her and forgave her eccentricities. He believed that Marilyn simply couldn't go in front of the camera until she was absolutely ready. All of the resort scenes that you see in the production were filmed entirely at the Hotel del Coronado in San Diego. One reason that this was used by the director and why he chose this location was the fact that Marilyn was having so many personal problems at that time, and he wanted a location where she could live on site and not have to be transported to and from the production. Plus, it was just down the freeway from L.A. Billy Wilder and Diamond took about a year developing the script for the film, and it was initially set in more contemporary times. But they finally decided that a period setting would make it easier for the audiences to accept female impersonation. And Wilder then came up with a story idea about it being in the Jazz Age, having the characters witness a gangland slaying as their motivation for their hiding out. Now, I've read in numerous locations where Marilyn Monroe was pregnant during the filming, which resulted in her looking considerably heavier. It's known that she had several miscarriages in her life, but I'm just not sure if this is actually true. It's said that due to this pregnancy, most of the photos that were taken for publicity were posed for by Sandra Warner and Marilyn's frequent stand-in, Evelyn Moriarty, with Marilyn's head superimposed later on. I don't know if this is true or not, but when you look at the publicity photos, you can almost see it. And who knows, as crazy as her life was, that seems like a strong possibility. Marilyn's dresses were designed by leading Hollywood costume designer Ori Kelly, who also did Tony Curtis and Jack Lemmon's outfits as well. One of the real interesting stories that this costume designer shared was the fact that when he was measuring all three of the stars for dresses, he half-jokingly told Marilyn that Tony Curtis had a nicer butt than she did, at which point Marilyn turned around, pulled open her blouse, and said, "Yeah, but he didn't have boobs like these." There's no doubt that Marilyn was a nightmare to work with during this production, but in the end, you see a finished product that is one of the best movies you'll see. Go back and take a look at this classic Billy Wilder film. You'll thoroughly enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.